Welcome to the Off-Though Podcast, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, another week of NFL football and another week of my picks being mediocre to say the least. We went 9-7. I want to say we went 9-7 last week. 10-7, which brings us up to 33-29-1. Just like right as close as down the middle as you can be in these games. We started off with the Bengals, the Thursday night game. We talked about the Tua game, how rough that was, and now it's come out the doctor's fired, and not the doctor, the neurologist, or was it independent? I think it was an independent neurologist that looked at him, which I don't know how an independent neurologist can get fired from the NFL when they're independent, so you're bringing it from an outside source anyways, but nevertheless, that situation happened. And then we kicked off in London, Saints-Vikings. This was a game of who didn't want the fucking win. I mean, with the Saints, you got the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton coming in, filling in for old famous Jameis, 30 for 30. So you already knew that. No Kamara, no Michael Thomas. Just kind of set up for failure with the Saints, but still hung around in this game, which is it's kind of crazy that they even were in this game. But nonetheless, Will Lutz recreated the old double doinker and missed, dude. He missed. He double doinked that bitch off. I mean, that was even. I think that double doink was closer than old boy from Chicago. I don't even know if they even was it Parkey, legendary Cody Parkey, hit a double doink. That one looked like it almost was. It looked like it was doinking in for a minute, man. I thought he had it off the side, then he had to come down and hit the bottom upright. Oh, fuck. It was a long one. What was it, 60? 60. Was this a 61 or a 63 that they tried? I know it was 60 plus. Let's see. We're going to go at the end of the game. 61. Okay, so it was a 61, which really nowadays 61-yard field goals are like average, dude. Like these kickers nowadays are kicking these quick, like making them easy. These longer ones. But because he had kicked a 60-yarder, which was crazy, and Will Lutz, one of the more reliable kickers around. But he got the double doinker to start things off, and so Minnesota goes to 3-1, and the Saints now fall into 1-3. Yikes! Saints are not who everyone kind of hyped them up to be. Which, even with Jameis Winston, I don't think they're that hype of a team. I kind of bought into the Jameis Winston resurgence, and then it's not meant to be, dude. It's not happening with them. It's not. I don't think that situation's gonna work out in New Orleans. I think they're just gonna keep going down. And then it's a good day in the A because we knocked off them Browns, baby. How about that win? How about that fucking win by the Falcons? And just a gritty, tough win too. Against the team that we talked about, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Yet you were afraid that was gonna be a part of this game where if you can't stop them, then not really gonna win the game. And it was pretty even. Like I had talked about, a key was getting a turnover from Brissett, who had not been turning the ball over at all. They got a pick off of him. Chubb did have 118 for a touchdown, but that's kind of light compared to what he's been doing. So I mean, I just like the grit that Atlanta showed with Cordell Patterson going out. That drive where they just said, we're going to run the ball. They ran the ball the entire drive, dude. I mean, that was kind of nuts. And Caleb Huntley came in and they just fed that man the ball. They went on a 10-play, 75-yard drive that they did not pass. It was nothing but running the ball, ground and pound. Just fucking, I love that ground and pound style because what that does is that sets up the pass in ways you don't understand. And I'll give you who I would say the best is at doing this was Tennessee, right? And they showed that. We'll talk about that in their game. I think they showed that that's their offense against the Colts. They ran the ball well. And what Atlanta did was they run the ball well. Any team that runs the ball well, it sets up that play action because teams now have to respect it. That's why a lot of times you see those games where quarterbacks are throwing 60 times a game and they have these really great stats and they still lose because you have no run game. And if you just abandon that run game, defense is not going to respect anything you're doing. So if you don't make a defense at least acknowledge your run game, you're never going to win a game in the NFL. You can't have both ways. You can't run the ball and not pass. It's a passing league. Teams will score points in a hurry on you. There's a lot of teams that can do it now. But on the other side of the spectrum, right, you can't just pass and then have, 9 guys going out in coverage and they're just sending 3 guys after you. It's just not going to work. So first off, credit to Atlanta because the run game was iffy. Cordell Patterson wasn't really popping off, even though he did have the 13-yard run. But Atlanta jumped up early. I think Brissett and them kind of, second quarter, they kind of just controlled the game. They had 2 drives, a 16-play and a 13-play drive. Atlanta had the ball 1 time in the second quarter. And it was a 3-and-out. And then the rest was all Cleveland. So, the time of possession was kind of getting scared because I thought if they had done that in the second half, we might have trouble. But Atlanta went to that run game, just grounded and pounded and put this game away. And that was a huge win because Atlanta is now tied for first with Tampa Bay, who we play this week, which we'll get to the picks. Not this episode. We're only going to do the Thursday night one, and we're going to have another episode where we just do all of the picks for the week. So we're just going to break down all the games. So shout out to my dirty birdies. D. Alfred got that pick to seal it. Tyler Algier looked great. 84 yards on 10 carries. Like I said, Caleb Huntley all in one drive, 10 for 56 and a touchdown. Avery Williams came in, had a 21-yarder. They did what they needed to do. I thought Zacchaeus had some big catches. The passing game just wasn't really there for Atlanta. Only 139 yards, 7 completed passes for Mariota. Just straight up ground and pound football. And why I make that correlation with Tennessee is because Arthur Smith, the coach from Tennessee, he's going to want to run that ball. With Cordell Patterson now out for at least 4 weeks, that's going to be the crucial thing. Can Atlanta keep that run game going with Algier and now Caleb Huntley? Which I think Caleb Huntley's a fucking dog. That dude, I will 100% support him being on the roster. With Tyler Algier, I like him, the rook coming in. He's had some decent carries. So huge win from my fucking Falcons. That was big. Needed to have that one against Cleveland. They got to win the games they should. Now you go into this week against Tampa Bay. That's going to be a fucking good one because they're not looking like top tier yet. So hopefully we can snatch a win out of them. Dallas and Washington, this was just a game, kind of what we thought was going to happen. I just think Washington just does not match up well without that defensive line. All the guys are missing on that D line. Chase Young being the front runner on that one. It just hurts that team because that's their big factor is that defense. With they have Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Chase Young. If they're bringing all these guys in, rotating them into one of the best D line. But this team can't run the ball. Carson Wentz is not an elite guy. He's not a starting caliber quarterback in this league. He's a serviceable backup at this point. 1 touchdown to 2 picks. Dallas only got to him twice. But Trevon Diggs got 1. It's just Dallas is finding a way to get by with Cooper Rush. Is there a quarterback controversy? God, no. Of course they're going back to Dak, but this is good for Dallas, man. They're winning these games and they're staying right on the course. I'm big on the Eagles. I was before the year started. I had them winning the division, but Dallas is giving them a run for the money. I'll tell you that. Really give them a run for money. They're handling their business with Cooper Rush in there. The run game's not even that good. Zeke's 19 carries, 49 yards, so they're not even getting help from Zeke. And Cooper Rush is just doing what he needs to do. You know, he's out dueling Carson Wentz easily. So the Cowboys are going to be all right. They're going to have a real fighting shot at this, and Cooper Rush is going to hold down the fort till Dak gets back. And them Cowboys are they're not a joke anymore right now. I still don't buy as much stock into them as I would the Eagles, but you can't really talk shit about them. They're fucking holding it down and winning games, and Washington's still a dumpster fire. They're putting Band-Aids at quarterback. It's not gonna solve the problem. And then you had the fucking shootout that we all knew was gonna happen. We all knew this was gonna be a 48-45 game between Seattle and Detroit, right? No. I did not think Seattle had it in them to put up this many points, to be honest with you. I mean, Geno Smith looked outstanding, dude. Where has this Geno been? He's 23 for 30, 320, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Holy shit, dude. And then Rashawn Penny. I mean, is Detroit's defense just this fucking ate up? I mean, holy shit, dude. Their offense is putting up enough points to beat anybody in the league. Their defense just can't stop a fly, dude. I mean, Jamal Williams goes for 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hawkinson has 179, 2 touchdowns receiving. Jared Goff's 378, 4 tutties and a pick, and you lose that game, dog? What is going on in Detroit? Detroit is just being Detroit. Now they actually have a team that can put up points and score and go against anybody, and they can't stop fucking shit. They couldn't stop a peewee fucking football team, dude. They couldn't stop a flag football team right now at this fucking point. I mean, Rashad Penny's going off on him. Metcalf is calling his shot and just shitting on the secondary. I don't know how the solo matchups went with Jeff Okudah. You know, he was talking shit saying that Okudah's always got a safety over top, so he's not really locking anybody down. But big yikes from Detroit. Their defense couldn't stop anything. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Giving up 48 points to the Seattle Seahawks. The team that's not very good. They made Geno Smith look like Tom Brady, dude. That's bad. That is bad. I thought the defense would kind of be more of their strong suit. I thought they would be limited with Jared Goff, but Jared Goff's play has been amazing. I talk shit about Jared Goff, and he's balling out. If they could figure this thing out on defense, Detroit would have a shot. They're putting up enough points. So, I mean, Seattle gets the win there. Good for them. Geno looked good. I don't know what that means. It's just that these teams are so wishy-washy. Another case in point. Tennessee and Indy. And Tennessee gets the win, and Derrick Henry looks like to his old form. The fumbles with Indy was brutal. And they lost 2 fumbles. Matt Ryan had 1. Jonathan Taylor had 1. Indy's just beating themselves. I mean, they were just beating themselves, and then Matt Ryan had the pick at the end there. They just the sloppy play from. If you go back and put on the tape and watch this game like I did, Tannehill and the Colts didn't do much to beat them, and the Titans did not do much to beat them. I mean, he's 17 for 21, $137, 2 touchdowns. Henry has 114 on the ground. They can't get Jonathan Taylor going offensively. They were making plays. Matt Ryan was throwing some really good throws. I mean, he was throwing dots, slinging the fucking ball around. He threw a beautiful pass to Alec Pierce on the left side in the second half when they were trying to get this thing tied back up. I mean, he was throwing some beautiful balls, moving in the pocket. Matt Ryan looks really good, looks comfortable. He's got the fumble issue. I don't. He's fumbling the ball, and then it's the turnovers for them that's killing him. Because that was a game where Indy should have won that game easily. Tennessee was not trying to win that game. They had the early lead, and they were just trying not to lose. And the Colts let them off the hook. If you could go back to the wise words of... oh, no, I had his name, and I lost it. But you want to crown them? Crown their ass. Indy should be like, they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. Indy let them off the hook, man. They let them off the hook. So you want to crown them? Crown their ass. So, if you're the fucking Colts, man, how you let that game go? How do you let that game go? That was a winnable game. Colts fans, when you go back and watch that tape, you're just gonna be, when Matt Ryan turns on the tape, he's just gonna be pissed off because there's a lot of plays where it's just silly fucking turnovers that killed the Colts. And like I said, easily could have won that game. Tennessee was playing not to lose, and they didn't lose it, I guess. Hats off to that strategy, but I thought I really could get more out of the Colts this year. I thought with Matt Ryan, maybe it's just a slow process, and luckily for them, that division is so fucking weak and it's so topsy-turvy. I mean, it's just you don't know who's going to win each week. The AFC in general this is the Colts team. Their only win is against the Chiefs, who just dog walked the fucking Bucks. So trying to put the pieces and see who's going to win and who's legit and who's not is so hard right now. I mean, you got the Giants at 3-1, Eagles at 2, and the Jags at 2-2. Just gave a hell of a fight to the fucking Eagles. I mean, you got the Jets 2-2. Hey, we picked the Jets and they won, baby. How about that? All right, so let's get back into these games. Bears Giants. This one was just fucking battle of the fucking. I don't even know what to say, dude. I mean, at one point, Daniel Jones gets hurt. He's out. Tyrod's in. He gets hurt. They have Saquon running Wildcat at one point. And the Bears still couldn't win, dude. The Bears kicked nothing but field goals. Again, we're not seeing anything from Fields that shows that he's a capable quarterback at this point. I mean, he looks good scrambling and getting out of the pocket. I'll give him that. But he is pressured. This O-line for Chicago is dog shit. They don't know how to pass block. Great at run blocking. I mean, they're making great holes for Khalil Herbert and Montgomery when Montgomery was healthy. And then the run game is not a question with Chicago. It's the pass game. They need to be able to set up. If they need a chip, and I know some tackles don't like that tight end chipping because it fucks them up. But if they need a tight end to block in, you just got to get the protection. These running backs need to be checking before they go out on their routes every time. They just need to get the protection right for Justin Fields. It's hard to make the right read when you got a guy breathing down your neck every play, or the thought of it is happening because you're traumatized. You know what I mean? But the Giants are just sticking to the Giants play. I mean, they're just running the playbook and it's working. Saquon is now, he's transformed and turned back into himself. He is the old Saquon Barkley. 31 carries for $146. And there was, what was the play that Saquon made? Was it a third down where he was reversing field and ends up, he's coming right to the screen, ends up reversing field, goes all the way back left, and ends up getting the first down. I mean, and if you put on the tape, this isn't all offense for Chicago in this game too. The defense has a lot of fucking things to look back at. If you're a Bears fan, you look at the tape, you look at the defense. Gap assignment for Chicago's defense was piss fucking poor. The gap assignment, you had one play where Jaquan Brisker was coming down on a safety blitz, and he hit the same gap as the Mike linebacker and flooded the A gap and left the B gap wide open, and that allowed Saquon to hit the A gap, and he bounced it back out and seen that B gap where Brisker had come in. Well, he's now the line of defense coming in from that safety spot. There's no one behind him, and that's what a lot of big run by Saquon at one point, literally just because of bad gap assignment, which is day one for defense. You're learning gap assignment, and you'll see it too when you see like a linebacker. They'll go and tap that D lineman. They'll give him that tap on the ass on the side, let them know, hey motherfucker, stay off the left side. I'm shooting on your left ass cheek. So if you're anywhere in between that spot, I'm blowing your ass up. You know what I mean? So when you see that, that's what they're doing. Brisker just is walking down trying to disguise a safety blitz and totally goes right where I believe Roquan Smith had hit and allowed Saquon to hit that fucking hole. So just sloppy mistakes there. And bad tackling by Chicago. Their tackling was horrible. That's what allowed that third down play by Saquon, not wrapping up. just dive tackling, poor gap assignment. I mean, the defense can't be off the hook either. I mean, granted, when your offense is so fucking shitty and you're having turnovers, and then there's a fumble on the punt return. Was it Velus Jones Jr.? That sealed it when he dropped that fumble. It's the little things. That's what separates a good team and a bad team. A bad team, it seems like every break that happens in the game is a bad break. Well, it's because you're not putting yourself in position. You're not doing the little things along the way to get yourself in a position to win the game. So when it always seems like, damn, dog, every game, every coin flip, the thing that could happen doesn't seem to go our way. That's because you're not a prepared team. So, I mean, and obviously you're getting that Chicago driving all the way down the field, and then they're settling for 3. You're going to lose the game. One team scored touchdowns. One team scored field goals. That's what separated this team. The Giants had 2 touchdowns. You know, they let Daniel Jones. Where's the edge? Setting the edge. Did they not teach that in Chicago this year? Because setting the edge, no one set the edge because Daniel Jones looked like fucking Lamar Jackson. That son bitch had 2 rushing touchdowns. Come on, man. That's a come on, man. That's a come on, man segment in itself. It's the Chicago's fucking defense. Not setting the edge. Piss poor gap assignment. They can't fucking tackle. You're letting Daniel Jones scamper off for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's fucking just buck fucking wild, dude. You ain't winning a game like that, I'll tell you that much. And then Tyrod Taylor came in and he fucking ran the offense like he was the starter, dude. Chicago's defense isn't the same Chicago's defense. So that's the only thing that's scary. When your offense isn't clicking and your backbone is inconsistent, you can't trust them Bears. Jags Eagles, like I said, Jags put up a hell of a fight. This one was kind of a sloppy game though for them. You know, it was a real fucking slop fest. Trevor Lawrence had 4 fumbles to go with a pick. No run game from Jacksonville. The Eagles shut that down. But it's crazy that this even was remained this close. Especially the Eagles adding 4 sacks, which they've been great with sacks. But the Andre Sisco pick 6 did help. And Trevor Lawrence had 2 touchdowns to Jamal Agnew. I mean, I will give credit. I think Duval, you have a reason to get excited about because I was scared. I was scared year 1 with Trevor Lawrence because, God, did he look bad, dude. I mean, he looked fucking real bad, like Peyton Manning rookie year bad. So I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. I thought, oh boy, he might be a real big flop, but he's really looking a lot better. Looking a lot better for Jacksonville and gives him a real chance. I like the running back room with James Robinson and Travis Etienne now. You got your big power bruiser guy in Robinson and Etienne as your do-it-all guy now that he's healthy. But I think Philly's just too tough, man. They got a solid fucking really good defense. They've been getting a lot of sacks. Miles Sanders isn't bad in the run game. And then you got Jalen Hurts also running. I like Kenneth Gainwell as well. But then obviously the receiving corps, Devontae Smith's had a quiet year so far, but I mean, you got A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert going 5 catches each, 95 yards and 72 yards. So, I mean, not all these guys are going to have crazy games, especially that kind of a sloppy game they were playing. It was a little rainy, wet, and I think that contributed to a lot of it. But, I mean, you're not getting 4 fumbles. You're not winning a game with 4 fumbles, and you threw a pick on top of it. I think I'm buying a lot more stock. This game was a real eye-opener for me for Jacksonville because they only lost by 8, and they had all them turnovers. And they jumped out to a 14-0 lead. So, I mean, Jacksonville looks really good. I'm buying them as maybe a sleeper wild card team. I don't know if they win that division. Maybe they win that division. AFC South is by far the most inconsistent, probably worst division. Has to be, right? I mean, Indy could be a really good playoff team. Could be a dog shit bottom feeder. Tennessee, I don't buy Tennessee. I know Titans fans are probably tired of hearing me dog shit on them, but I can't get behind Tannehill, man. He's a Kirk Cousins to me. And yeah, you could say, well, Kirk Cousins is 3-1, but look how they're winning and who they're beating. You got a cheap win from Green Bay week 1. You're beating the Saints, and God, you probably should have lost it, but speaking of shitty quarterback play, you got the Steelers who finally benched Trubisky. I'd have to go back and check the tape. Did I say this game that I had a feeling that he might get benched? And really, he didn't look bad. He had a pick that wasn't his fault. It was a tip ball. Should have had a touchdown. He threw a fucking absolute dime in the back of the end zone that receiver just it was this close. Dude didn't get his foot down. Beautiful ball. I thought Trubisky looked solid. And then they put Pickett in. He throws 3 picks. His only incompletions. He also had some tipped issues and whatever. So not much to look there. But Zach Wilson comes back. He looks like he needs some more time still, but gets him the fucking win. I thought he did make some great throws. I thought Corey Davis is looking good. That's a good sign for the Jets because Corey Davis looked like he was going to be just one of them guys that could have been something but didn't turn out to anything. But I think Steelers are just frustrated. I think that move with Trubisky wasn't even so much Trubisky, man. They knew this was coming. Trubisky was set up for failure to be there. Like, he was never given the reins. First, it was supposed to be Mason Rudolph's team. Then they signed Trubisky. Then they fucked Trubisky and got Kenny Pickett, the hometown kid who played at Pitt. Yeah, that guy's going to start, over you at some point. So I don't think Trubisky played all that terrible. That pick wasn't his fault. I think, he can run, but Kenny Pickett can kind of do what Trubisky does and probably could. He has more upside, a lot more value. I get it, but why would you give Trubisky a 2-year deal then? Why'd you give him you know what I mean? You could just get somebody to be a backup and let Kenny Pickett start. I think the Jets, though, do have a lot on the offensive side of the ball. They do have a lot to get excited about. I thought Elijah Moore really had some explosive big plays. So did Garrett Wilson. And if Corey Davis can be that guy with those two, they will have some weapons. Don't get me wrong. But just got to use them. Wilson's got to settle himself in. Not have the turnovers, He can make plays, make stuff happen, get out of the pocket and do some shit, but he's got to prove himself. I think he's still got some time, but that was a huge win over the Steelers, and a win a team that they felt they probably should have beat, the way that they've been playing, but even with Kenny Pickett, they couldn't pull that one out. Bills Ravens, this was a fucking wild one. This is the one that kind of was a head scratcher for me. Not gonna lie. Like I said, when I was predicting this game, the Bills defense to me was going to be the difference maker, and they kind of were. Poyer with the picks. They had that possession. What gets me is the possession where Baltimore chose to not take the 3 and put in Lamar's hands and try to make a throw. It just seemed it didn't make sense. Everyone kind of was like, this shit don't make sense. First off, the fact that you're going for it doesn't make sense. And then you just kind of have Lamar just make some. Why not do like a read option? Why not play to your strength? It just, I didn't make any sense. I feel like they just did Lamar dirty by putting him out there, and it's like they're putting him out there to fail. Why would you put yourself in that situation? It seems to me like, now Lamar's on a contract year and he's betting on himself and da-da-da. Well, let's just do stupid shit to where the season doesn't pan out. Obviously they don't benefit if he has an MVP season like he's been playing. He's going to demand that money. But for the Bills, I think for the Bills, this is a game that showed them their defense can go out and stop a high-powered offense that can throw anything at them. No team is going to throw much more at you than the Ravens, with their Lamar being able to get out of the pocket and run as well as he can, as also pass. Other than the Chiefs, I think that's the two teams that are going to give the Bills defense the most fits. But they continue to look good defensively. Poyer getting the 2 picks. I think that's what's going to separate them from a lot of these other AFC teams. And a lot of the NFC teams as well, but these AFC teams were such a wild west shootout. I think their defense will separate them and allow them to, even if they make a couple mistakes, their defense will get it back for them. The Ravens, they just concern me with their weapons and how they go with these games where they just can't seem to get the ball downfield in the air. I get it's a top tier defense, but And it's just not a good look when you can only get 144 yards, 2 picks, and really your ground game wasn't even that prolific on your standards. You know what I mean? They don't have that guy at receiver. They got a lot of guys that are trying to prove themselves and prove to the team that they can be a guy, a valuable asset. I love what Duvernay's been doing. I think he's been doing a good job. Not so high on what Rashad Bateman's been doing. None of these guys, is it Lamar not getting the ball or are these guys not getting separation? That would have to be, you'd have to go look at the tape on that. But man, sometimes their offense can just really disappear if it's through the air. Sometimes he can go off for these 300-yard passing games, but sometimes it just disappears, and whatever reason they're not going to beat these legit teams, and especially they're not going to survive the AFC bracket with that kind of offensive inconsistencies. The Chargers get it done against the Texans. Really not much there. Eckler just kind of went off. The Texans did kind of get going late, but I think if you are the Texans, you're still uncertain about Davis Mills. I think he shows signs, but also makes some throws that make you go, what the fuck, dog? But I will say this, Dameon Pierce kid, man, is really making a fucking name for himself. Rookie out of Florida, he's known to after that first hit of contact to just keep going. He runs physical. Scary, dude. He is a scary runner. Gets 14 for 131 and a touchdown. I like this Dameon Pierce for the Texans. That kid is a fucking stud at running back. You got to watch out. That might be their new MO. That might be their new MO is ground and pound and get the play action going, passing game going off of that run game. I think the future for Houston is getting better. They just got to start now getting pieces. They got to build a really good offense because I think they got a solid defense in Derek Stingley Jr. and these guys that they've been adding over the years. And if they're going to go forward with Lovie Smith, Lovie Smith's going to have a solid defense. So, I mean, just outpowered against the Chargers, with Herbert and Eckler having himself a fucking – you had him for fantasy. You had a fucking day, let me tell you. Eckler went off. Mike Williams went off. This is the Chargers team that we want to see. Like, this is the team that we expect. I know they're having their trials and tribulations with injuries, but they get their 4 sacks. That's great. They get 2 picks from the back end of the defense. They're doing when they're on, when all the cylinders are fucking striking at once. The Chargers are a bad fucking team to go against. They just don't seem to ever. They never get to seem to have that consistency going and everything lining up. They seem to be one of those teams that gets nagged with injuries a lot too. So hopefully they can stay healthy to make a competitive season for them. Another team that I can't figure out are these Arizona Cardinals. I did pick them, but I'm just not really buying what they're selling. I'm not high on their product. I'm not a fan of James Conner. I think he was overrated. He doesn't give you much. The run game is a committee of guys that just doesn't really work to me. Kyler Murray becomes more their main running guy. It's a lot of backyard bullshit with the Cardinals. It's a lot of settling for field goals, and to be honest, the Cardinals defense fucking stinks without all the pieces they've let go. Their D-line is atrocious. J.J. Watt's like their best contributor, and he's a guy that shouldn't be your leading cowbell on defensive line. He's a guy that would complement a fierce guy. But, they let these guys go, and they just don't have the firepower. I like some of their pieces. I love Budda Baker. I love Isaiah Simmons. J.J. Watt's all right when he's healthy. Brian Murphy, Marco Wilson, they have pieces. Their defense I don't think their defense can keep up with these high-powered offenses, to be honest. I don't think their offense is consistent enough that, you get games where they go off, and then you get games where the Cardinals have such a hard time putting points on the board. It's just a problem for them. And on the other side, I thought Carolina, man, really would be something with Baker. Has not worked out yet. They can't get a running game consistently going. But, McCaffrey's coming out of the backfield receiving the ball well. That's fine and dandy. But they're not running the ball, and Baker needs a running game. He's a quarterback that, while I am high on him and I think he's a solid starting quarterback and deserved this job, I also believe he needs a running game to help him out because he's not there yet to where he's going to just slice and dice the defense. So you got to get somebody. Carolina stinks, and I'm happy for it. I'm here for it as a Falcons fan. By all means, I just think they have such a great defense, but they have a lot of great defensive pieces that I think should work. And to me, this is it's going to be a bad year for Carolina, and Matt Rule will be out of there sooner or later, to be honest. But I still don't think we learned enough about Arizona to really know who we got with them. They're still a middle-of-the-pack team with me. Then you got the Packers and Patriots going to overtime, which to me just shoots up a red alarm for Green Bay because this game should not have been as close as it was, especially with Bailey Zappi. Dude, Green Bay's defense really kept them in this game. I mean, really kept them in this game. The offense is not clicking. They're getting yards and not putting up points. Romeo Dubes is starting to solidify himself. You're not getting enough out of Christian Watson. He gets one reception for 8 yards. And to me, New England is such... They're the most New England... This is the most New England team right now. They have a really good defense. No offensive weapons. A bunch of guys that no one's ever heard of. And they're just mediocre. But they go to OT and Crosby hits the game winner. But Green Bay, it's concerning, man. Right now, the Green Bay's looking like they'll get to the playoffs and lose again in the first round if they play. It just the Green Bay, this feels the same. Like, I'm not getting anything new. This is a team that is going to get locked up with their receiving core. They need to go get Odell. Green Bay really needs to go get Odell. That would make them legit, and I think they would take away some of the problems of putting up points. This is a game that should not have been this close. Bailey Zappi should not come in and be 10 for 15, 99 yards and a touchdown. It's just a bad look for Green Bay. I mean, a win's a win. Can they settle in and change this towards the end of the year? Yeah, sure they can. But right now, it's not a good look for Green Bay's offense. If their defense wasn't as good as if they've been playing so far, they easily would have lost this game to Bailey Zappi. I mean, no Mac Jones. You lose Brian Hoyer. You're onto a third-string quarterback, rookie quarterback, and he looks like he belongs. Not good. Aaron Rodgers and Bailey Zappi. If you told me those two quarterbacks are going at it, okay, Green Bay's winning by... The Aaron Rodgers team is winning by like at least 2 touchdowns. This should not have been a 3-point game. I'm not hitting the panic button by any means because Green Bay's 3-1 and the top of their division. But I'm hitting the panic button for future because they will not beat any legit teams. They just will not beat legit teams with the way their offense is producing. Raiders. The Raiders get their first win against Denver. Again, Denver's that team which we have to make the pick. We are going to make the pick for tonight's game. But holy shit, man. 32-23. Denver loses. And Las Vegas gets their first win. Las Vegas is definitely a team that needs a run game. They go as far as Josh Jacobs. The Raiders are they're like close cousins to the Tennessee Titans. But I like Derek Carr more than Tannehill. But they do the same things, right? They got a big bruiser back that they like to feed and get going to then pass the ball. And you know how Josh McDaniels is. They like to run that ball and then pass off of it, and allows them to do a lot of their trickery shit and different shit that they do. But what is going on in Denver? I'll tell you right now, a big issue, their running game. They lose Javonte Williams. Unfortunately, this sad. They lose Javonte Williams for the year, ACL, MCL tear. So then Melvin Gordon comes in. He has a crucial fumble. He's got to chill out with the fumbles. The fumble was a big spot in the game where that turned this game around. But what is going on? A division that I thought was going to be just chaotic because it's so good is so bad. I mean, I don't know who I trust. And Kansas City is yet again, here they are, top of this division. It just, to me, doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know what comes out of this game for me, to be honest. It proves that Denver can't be trusted and they need more time, and that this Las Vegas experiment is not working right now. This is a chance for them to turn around, but their offense is not clicking at all. It's that their offense has been a problem clicking and keeping them really in games. You go back to, the Titans game, they lose by 2, unable to really pull away from Tennessee. Then they lose that game to the Cardinals with the scoop score. So they're just losing sloppy games, not putting enough points up to close teams out. If they're the Raiders, if they finally put up enough points to close a team out and get the job done. So is this enough in that division? Can they turn things around? Absolutely. They just got to get the offense going, and Josh Jacobs. They have to get Josh Jacobs going. They have to keep the run game involved. Do not get away from the run game, and start passing. That's what a lot of teams like to do nowadays, and that's what gets teams in trouble. It's all this passing and not having a consistent run game. Any one-dimensional, either way you look at it, you slice it, you're one-dimensional either side, you're not going to win a game. Then we had the Sunday night showdown where the Chiefs just took it to the fucking Bucks, boy. They just really took it to them bad. I mean, in a game where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just completely abandoned the run game. They ran the ball 6 times all night for 3 yards. That's brutal. Brady throws it 52 times. A consistent theme. If you can't run the fucking ball, you can't win the game. You gotta run something. I mean, that was a poor execution. I know they went down early and they were kind of had their hands tied at that point, but Kansas City's greasing the fucking gears and getting ready, man. They're running on all fucking cylinders, and now they got this Isaiah Pacheco dude who looks like a fucking shifty little gadget guy that they can use. Like, they need more weapons. I mean, Andy Reid's found a new toy to utilize, and I'm telling you, Kansas City's, their defense isn't good. It's not going to really stop team, but that offense is still putting up points. If you allow this offense to put up a lot of points, and this is on a really good Tampa team, they were just on the field too much, man. On the field too much. Tampa's offense is atrocious. It's so lopsided. They can't keep running like this. And if they try this against Atlanta, I give credit to Atlanta for stopping Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. If they can stop the Tampa Bay's rushing offense and make them pass and make them one-dimensional, I like Atlanta's odds. I'm not going to lie. Tampa Bay is truly not who we thought they were yet. They're not in shape. That team is out of shape right now. And they got some growing pains to get through. I didn't think they'd have to have these growing pains. But hell, all their weapons are getting hurt and out. And so, I mean, it's a sloppy mess right now on the offensive side. The defensive side is good. And they're there for them. It's when Brady and these guys get it going on offense, but they did not have a good showing. Only a 10-point game, but it looked like a 20-point difference the way they were playing. Then the last game of the week, we capped it off with the Rams 49ers, and Jimmy G gets the dub 24-9 over the Rams. Kind of shocking to me, to be honest. Again, you look at the Rams. Again, no run game. 57 total rushing yards on 18 attempts. It's just not going to cut it in this league. Defensive coordinators are too smart. They'll just drop guys back into coverage, and if you're not going to run the ball. I mean, 14 catches, 122 yards for Cooper Kupp, 10 for 73 for Higbee, and then basically nobody else. You're not getting any production out of A-Rob, which is concerning. The Bears were able to utilize him more in Chicago with Justin Fields than Matt Stafford is right now. Not a good sign. This is a game of really the 49ers defense bending and not breaking. Limiting the Rams to 3 field goals. Then Hufanga jumps that route on Stafford's ass and takes it to the house 52 yards. Really, that sealed it. It does a dagger. That was a huge dagger, a huge blow. Matthew Stafford is got to chill out with these turnovers too. He had a fumble and a pick. He is turning the ball over at a very, very alarming rate. 4 touchdowns, 6 picks. I mean, that's not going to cut it. They're sitting at 2-2. I mean, obviously with that division, the way it's panning out, every team is 2-2 now. So it's definitely the wild NFC West. So I mean, I'm just starting to learn that there's a lot of inconsistencies with these teams in the early weeks. We're getting a lot of inconsistent play. I think these next 4 weeks you're going to start to see things ratchet down and tighten down. A lot of teams starting to tighten this thing up, and we're going to see the contenders and the pretenders separate themselves. I think in the next 4 weeks we're going to learn a lot more about a lot of these teams moving forward. With all that being said, like I said, we finished 10-7 on the week. We're going to mark down Thursday night's game and wrap this thing up for you guys. And then we'll have the rest of the picks and breaking down the Thursday night game tomorrow. So we got Colts, Broncos. Honestly, should be a fun one just because how inconsistent these two teams are. I really don't know what to expect. What are we going to get from Denver? How is the run game going to look? Can Melvin Gordon fill in the shoes for Javonte Williams? Can the Colts stay out of their own fucking way and not turn the ball over? That's going to be the big factor. The deciding factor for me is, does Matt Ryan hang on to the ball, not turn the ball over, and can and for on the other side, can Russell Wilson be consistent in the run pass game, and move the ball down and put enough points up to put the Colts away? I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game by any means. I mean, it could be where these teams put up a lot of points as the defenses play bad, but Thursday night, short week, I don't think so. And oddly enough, gut saying Denver, but I've been burned by both these teams, so I don't know really who to go with. I think the difference is going to be the run game. I think the Colts get the running game going with Jonathan Taylor more than the Broncos will. The difference maker is going to be, can the Colts O-line keep Matt Ryan upright and let him throw the ball? I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Colts. I'm gonna take the Colts. I think they get it done. I think they keep Matt Ryan upright enough to let him sling the ball down the field, and they get Jonathan. I think Jonathan Taylor has a big game. I think he has 2 rushing touchdowns. Big game for Jonathan Taylor. A buck 20 and 2 rushing touchdowns for Taylor. Colts get a win here. Low scoring, 27-23, Colts over the Broncos. And then we will do the rest of the games tomorrow. My Atlanta Falcons fight for that fucking division. Can they take out the Bucks and get the early division lead? That's going to be a fun one. Just looking at this, Bengals Ravens Sunday night, hell of a game there. Raiders Chiefs Monday night will be fun. Cowboys Rams, interesting. 3:25. Oddly enough, Dolphins Jets might be a good one. Seahawks and Saints. Browns Chargers. Bills Steelers. Giants Packers will be an interesting one. We get another London game, so we get Giants Packers in London. That'll be a fun one. Falcons Saints. Falcons Bucks fighting for the division. Cowboys Rams. Eagles Cardinals will be interesting, I think. I think the Eagles will wipe the floor with them. And then the Ravens Bengals Raiders Chiefs. We got a good week. Week 5 is going to be a good one. I think we got a lot of good games here. But with that being said, as always, I love y'all. Have a good one. Peace.